I'm sharing a brief extract from our recent podcast episode at cryptotalkradio.net with some expanded thoughts. I'm not going deep in this garbage. It's not worth it. It's not, this is one I guarantee is not worth your time. However, I think it's kind of a duty for me to at least do a little bit more expanded coverage. So first, I'm going to share a snippet of what I said on the podcast, because that'll give the preface of what ultimately happened. And then I'll give a little bit of thoughts after the fact of things that I saw. Let's go ahead and do the snippet here. So Sean Crypto Smith, I covered or mentioned, hilarious, deadpan humor. I love deadpan humor. He had done coverage on a token called MMAI. I'd never heard of it, didn't care, But when he talked about it, I'm like, okay, well, there's something there. And if he thinks there's something there, there may be something there. But I didn't follow it because, social media, right? Apparently, Awesome Austin, he's a YouTube influencer. And I still didn't go, but apparently he was associated with this business. Well, I was watching Bleez's live earlier, and somebody on the chat mentioned that MMAI had taken half the liquidity. It's like 200 grand off the liquidity unexpectedly. And Bleez didn't know it happened, but he saw a reaction from Awesome Austin where the reaction, I saw it after the fact. Basically, some of these influencers on Twitter or crypto, they'll just quit. They'll quit social media. And it's like, I'm seeing a pattern of this. Like Sandstorm, I think he quit. Ryan Patrick, he had quit something. Classy had quit the Luna Classic. Like all these ones are just, I don't know where we got to this world where people just kind of quit. They get so butthurt and then they just quit the business. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I don't like going on social media. The only reason I do is because there are people that follow and they genuinely are curious about solid coverage. That's the only reason I do it. I don't do it for personal at all. But these ones, they just get set off by some incident or something. They just quit the business. So Austin, he quits, and Bleez was responding to it. He gave an impression that I thought was hilarious. And I missed that. I missed that aspect of Bleez's coverage. The real, I'm not a fan of looking at the good in cryptocurrency. I'm a fan of just call it like it is. I miss that side of his coverage of the invitations and the rants. That's the entertainment value. And this was quality. And I want to share that for you as I wrap up here today.
Ben Fair says MMAI pulled over 200K liquidity supposedly for blockchain development, 258K left. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. I have no idea what is going on there. I saw what's my man's name? Austin, Awesome Austin. He came out and said, "I hate crypto. Screw all you guys. Screw you guys. I'm going home," or whatever he said yesterday. So then I nominated him for Buzzkill of the Year. I don't know what's going on with the guy, but he's still in MMA, or so I thought. So I have no idea what's going on over there. But apparently it's okay. It's okay for all of your other cryptos to get dunked on. Apparently it's okay for all these guys to do that. But when MMAI pulls 200K in liquidity, that's cool. That's okay. That's because it's working. We're making stuff happen, bro. So I don't know. Seems disingenuous to me, but I don't know.
Abso-freaking-lutely hilarious, right? So this, I had never seen. I saw like the hashtag, and then of course Sean Crypto Smith brought awareness to me of just it's a thing, but I didn't go in depth into it because I don't know. Now when I saw it already, just on the acronym alone, I already knew that it can only be one of a couple things. So either we're talking MMA, as in the sport, okay, maybe there's something there like the Joe Rogan EU or whatever, or it's AI related because it's MMAI, and then I'm like, okay, is it MetaMask or so? My point is, because I've said it, and if you're new to cryptotalkradio.net, my coverage is always around the layman investor. It's not. I set aside what I know technically, and I look at it as just a new person trying to hit cryptocurrency and what the hell's going on. Are you speaking outside the crypto bubble? Are you resonating to a wide mainstream audience? Or are you only targeting those that would have already bought your stuff? If you're in the bubble, I'm less likely to do any sort of advocation for you in any way, because I feel like you should appeal outside the bubble and you should appeal mainstream. use mainstream terminology. I think that your call tag and everything needs to be mainstream. So again, if it was MMA related, that's mainstream, right? However, there's been a lot of failures with the MMA based and the fight game based tokens. So that would be red flag number one. If it's AI related, yes, it's in the now and it's whatever, but the truth is you're not gonna do anything that hasn't already been done. So in my mind, I'm like, it already failed, because if that's what you're going with, it's already failed. Little did I know that this MM stands for MetaMonkey. And so already, once I, I'm sorry, that's it just, once I get this, it's like, this thing would have been destined for failure. And I'm glad I never saw this, because it would have gotten it just way wrong. Now, the frustrating thing there's two parts of frustration. One, allegedly, I didn't prove this. This was what was told to me on X, but allegedly, the developer behind this is the idiot who's behind Shinja. Cliff was a Fetner, right? So that idiot who killed the business on Shinja, aka Shibnobi. So already you got a guy who has a pattern of just being an absolute, I don't want to swear, but he's just a straight up jackass. That's what he is. That's what he is. He's proud of it too. So is that he doesn't answer questions. He doesn't explain his shit. And the thing is, this situation happened before. It happened with Shinja. And I did a video way back, and I talked about, this was really early. I want to say it was like right after I had started the show on the YouTube side. And I had done an evaluation where Faltron, who's on YouTube, X and YouTube, he was in some spaces on Telescam, and he was arguing back and forth with Cliff about money being taken out. And Cliff was, we covered that on AMA, that was Cliff, right? And, Faltron's calling for data. He's saying, well, where's the documentation trail? Where's the trail of what you were doing with this? And they were just arguing back and forth. And I called them both out, because it's not that Faltron was wrong. He is tinfoil, but he was right in what he was calling out, which is, you need to act like a damn business and document what you're doing, and don't just go sketchy business. Well, this whole dump of 200K out of the liquidity is very close to what happened with fucking Shinja. And so when I hear that, okay, Cliff is behind this too, if that's true, it doesn't surprise me, but it disappoints me, because if anybody that knew that Cliff was on this, that was in Shinja, and that may have been a motivating reason why you got into it in the first place, because you trusted this idiot, I'm sorry, you got only yourself to blame on that, bro. Because come on, that situation that happened with Shinja should never have happened, and now he's doing it again. This now puts Cliff in the category of a car salesman, as in Seifu, and they're probably related in some way, because they're acting the damn same. And he probably took inspiration from the car salesman in Seifu, jumping from project to project, ripping people off and claiming it's a failure. I'm saying, I don't feel good that people get ripped off. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you got into this because you knew Cliff Idiot was over this, and you were somehow inspired that he was going to make this successful, that was your motivating reason, you have only yourself to blame. That's what I'm saying. Because of what he did on Shinja, where he did the same damn thing over there, and then wipes his hands of it. At some point, you're getting to a grifter level, just like the Car Salesman 2.0 on LockPay and Car Salesman 3.0 on SafeJet, and so many others. We're now starting to add to the cesspool that is these car salesmen folks, where they're influencing people, and unfortunately, people are getting ripped off. The good part about the timing of this particular dump is we haven't yet hit the full bull run. So the amount of money is relatively low. Now, of course, it's arguably a large percentage of the pool that was taken. I'm saying that it was relatively low. We're not talking millions and millions, so that's something. But I decided to go further, because I'm like, if it wasn't, let's say there's some people that they didn't know Cliff was part of it, didn't know anything about Cliff, didn't know the history. I doubt that. I doubt it. I think that would have been used as a promotional measure. I'm sure that Austin's coverage somehow played into certain people getting in. That's what happens when you have shillers. I'm sure that there was some hype coming from other outlets. I did see Rodney talk about it at pieces. So I'm pretty sure that just general shiller attraction got in, very similar to Strange Inu. Perhaps that's what it was. But I was trying to look deeper into, okay, once this person tells you it's a damn thing, what enticed you to stay? The site is MMAIpure.com if you want to check it out. And already on the site, I'm like, come on, really? Come on. And I think what got people, this is a psychological trick. I think what got people is simply the fact that they actually had videos of things. They have videos of what they call the Pure Wallet in action. They have video of their metaverse garbage. They have video of this game. Anybody can do videos. Anybody can mock shit up. Anybody can make it look realistic. That doesn't mean it's a real product. Or have we forgotten? Some people might be too young to remember this. I'm sure you know the brand name Halo, first-person shooter game, right? Halo, the first Halo, was so well regarded, so popular for what it was at the time. You look back and you're like, okay, this is kind of not that much. At the time, it was one of the best out there, first-person shooters. But later, when they were doing the advertisement for what would become Halo 2, I remember, and it's still out there somewhere on the web, the devs did a demonstration of what was going to be Halo 2 when it was coming, and it was interplaying. Again, put yourself in the mind of the past. You take this for granted now, but at the time, it was different. It was interplaying between first person and third person. You were jumping on vehicles. It was fast-paced action. It was smooth, buttery smooth. There was no lag, no glitches, nothing. Just action all over the place. Even I'm not a first-person shooter fan. I mean, I've played them, but I'm not a fan of them. But I was like, okay, I would give that a shot because it looks like more than just a first-person shooter. First-person shooters give me nausea. I can't stand it. But this one, where it's interplaying between it, things are shifting up. It's like a movie. It's like an action movie in play. They demonstrate this thing. When that crap came out, it was nothing like what they showed. Not a damn thing was close to like they showed. Very similar to what happened with Cyberpunk 2077 when they were showing footage before it launched, and it was nothing close to what it was. That's what you have with Halo 2. The thing is, the devs would come out later and admit, yes, this was stock. It was basically, we mocked it up to get a demo out. None of this was a real game. We didn't have a game. There was no way we could do what we showed you on that console at the time. It wasn't strong enough to do it, but we had high pressure to deliver something. We had to show something. The same shit happened with Fable 2. Fable 1 comes out, and I frankly thought the game was garbage. All I remember with that crap is the guy farting. But Fable 2, they did this again. It was an online demo. The devs, they show this video, and it looks pretty good. Looks like they improved a lot of stuff, and it's amazing. Game comes out, and it's a fraction of what they were doing. Fraction of it. My point is that's a pattern, and it happens a lot in gaming. So when I saw this gaming video, I'm like, come on, dude, that is not what you're going to be delivering. I guarantee you're not delivering this shit. I guarantee, because if they could, it had already been done to this degree, to this detail. Fuck no. Are you kidding me? This that I see, that I'm looking at, is PC footage. Okay, fine. PC, blockchain, yes, I can interplay them. Sure, fine. You're not doing this shit on a console. You're not doing this shit on the web. No, absolutely not. Because I know enough about what it takes to get to this level of detail. The level of detail here that I see, no way. So I see stock footage of videos, and I see stock imagery of all this other stuff. And then they talk about the CERTIC audit, and the CERTIC audit was highly scored, and that's fine. And then they talk about all there's these white papers put out there. The white papers are not, they're just generic white papers, and they're not theirs. They're generic. They're standard. They're on somebody else's. They're not theirs. Okay. And then Metaverse, they're generic white papers. They're not their own. So it would be the same thing as me telling you, if I were trying to sell you on EVs, electric vehicles, right? If I were trying to sell you on it, it'd be like me sending you to an article that talks about electric batteries and lithium ion and the manufacturing process, just to understand it. That's fine, but that's not a sale, right? Who cares? I'm not doing it. I'm not using it. What are you doing? What am I doing to introduce this? How am I contributing to it? This is just sending you to other data you can find yourself if you're really interested. Most of the layman people don't care about this degree. And so I know that it was used to try to sell people that thought was put into it, and this is why we're doing it. Nobody's going to read this shit. I guarantee you. So then I went down, and it's talking about deep learning and AI. Again, nobody's going to read this shit. Nobody's going to care. It's just a bunch of information. And what happens, this is a psychological trick in sales. I was a salesperson in past life. What happens is you inundate the customer, the prospective customer, with a bunch of information, knowing good and damn well they're not going to read all of it. but it gives the illusion of credibility. It gives the illusion of something happening. It gives the illusion that, yes, this is going to be a thing. And yes, we are experts in our craft and we've thought about this to a deep degree. That's what that does. It's psychological is what it is. Okay, fine. So for me, I didn't see anything that would convince me personally that this was going to go anywhere at all. And when you call it MetaMonkey, but then you're like the MetaMonkey wording is nowhere on the site. It's all about MMAI. Are you ashamed of it? Well, why the fuck did you call it MetaMonkey? If you're ashamed, let's say you are. I don't know that you are, but if you are, why the fuck did you call it that? I don't know. I'm saying, whatever. They listed an address on the site. It's out in California. Now the address on the site, it turns into, and you find an organization. It's CognitGo, not Cognito. CognitGo, MetaMonkeyAI, Trigo. Okay, that's interesting. And it comes from one of the core companies that they have linked as a quote partner, NS Lab. NS Lab it's a different organization, has nothing to do with it. So I was like, okay, what the hell does this mean? What we have is CognitGo is on the East Coast, MetaMonkey is on the West Coast. And all it's got is a reference that they are somehow cooperating, as in we're cooperating with you to do something. This company talks about blockchain technologies, talks about Betaverse technologies. So the implication is that they're possibly using this organization to build all the stuff that you saw. Here's the problem I got with this. If you look at the site for this NS Lab, the NS Lab is based out of Korea. Okay. Well, if you look at the site for this business, there's nothing here, and the way that it's formatted does not give me confidence they know what the fuck they're doing web development. Now, it could just be a half-ass site or it's barely completed or anything, but this strikes me as half done, basically unfinished. I would not have any confidence in the people behind this to do anything web development related, including mobile app, because you can't even get your damn website formatted correctly. I'm talking basic format structure. We're talking basic things that you should in entry level education be able to do. And there's nothing here. There's no case studies. There's no examples of things. There's nothing here, which leads me to think that this quote organization might actually be a scam. I can't say that it is. I'm saying that it leads me to think that it might be. Again, I look at it as an outside person looking at this business that would bother going this far. I don't see anything that tells me that this is legit something. So then I looked at another one. It's called AirCRE, aircre.com. Aircre.com translates to a guy named Sean Pullen, face, the whole nine, and it's got the same address as what this MetaMonkeyAI has listed. This AirCRE, this is where I started having significant red flags, because I'm like, okay, AirCRE, who are you? That's the next deal. Quote, AirCRE believes in supporting the commercial real estate industry and developing the next generation of CRE leaders. Our one-year sponsored membership program provides new brokers with access to our full platform member resources. Okay, I still don't know how you attribute to what we're talking here. This is real estate, brokerage, sales agent. How does this then connect over to this MetaMonkeyAI garbage? Because I'm not making again, layman person, I'm not making the connection to what you're doing over there. It's not making sense for me at this point. All the people on the site appear to be just, random people that are in real estate. I don't see anything wrong with the AirCRE, but I'm concerned that the address is the same as this one. So then it gets me thinking that perhaps the address is just a shared, office rented space. Either that or it's a mailing thing, because you can do mail services, and perhaps that's what it is. All right. I decided to go just one step further because I wanted to make 100% sure that I wasn't overlooking something with this garbage. And I looked at the CERTIC audit because I was the last step of the chain. The CERTIC audit, again, got a decently high score, got 81, I believe it is, trending slightly downward, but got an 81 on it. And CERTIC didn't call out anything of significant risk other than the tax structure, the fact that transfers can be blocked, ownership's not renounced, and the ownership has a high percentage. And the owner is essentially the creator, as in the deployer, is one and the same. And then they called out where is it what's called an external call risk. So this is a new trend. But what happens is if you have a function that lets you call a different contract to do work, basically what you're doing is this contract does one function, this contract does another function, this contract does another one, and you're essentially delegating work to the other contract. It's not necessarily a problem, but it's a risk because it means you don't necessarily know as somebody looking at it that this is happening, and there could be something malicious in intent behind what that's doing. So when CERDIC called that out, I've seen it on a number of increasing contracts. I wasn't as concerned because I don't know what that other thing is doing. But here's where the flag came in. Read, claxons. Literally, as I'm recording this, the creator owner percentage, you heard me, I just said it's like 37%. It just went to 46% or 47% rounded up. It literally just climbed as I'm staring at it. This is off the heels of what happened with the liquidity drop that people are so pissed off about, and the fact that ownership's not renounced. I can't make a confident statement about what's happening here. I can't tell you what's truly happening here. I can't tell you what the problem is, other than CERDIC literally just changed and shows that the owner has now apparently accumulated a significant amount of the tokens to the point they pretty much hold half the supply. May or may not be a thing. They can block transfers, but yet they were able to transfer stuff to themselves. Okay, may or may not be a thing. Significantly high taxes may or may not be a thing. I'm going to encourage you to make up your own mind about whether you're going to trust this project. I'm going to recommend to you, at the end of the day, I didn't see it at the time, and I'm glad I didn't. And I would think that there's probably something here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what exactly is happening behind the scenes. People question about the cost of the blockchain. And I talked about if you got all the bells and whistles, it could get up to $1 million. It's not a problem. But there may be other things to it. There may be staff that you're doing. There may be server costs that you're doing. There may be some other costs. I don't know, because that's the problem with if it's Cliff. I don't know if it is, but if it is, that's the problem. And the reason you need to document what you're doing and make the documentation publicly available and act like a business. So if you were in this and you lost some money, I'm sorry that happened. I can't say what's exactly going on. I can't say if it's just a minor blip or whatever. I can tell you that as I speak, the owner, while it apparently holds a significant portion of the supply, the drop was substantial as it was. And I think people were swayed by some very creative video work and imagery work on the site where they were convinced something is a thing. But that's happened multiple times, OpenStream World. So all I can say is be safe. You know, if you're a gambler and you want to just roll dice on it, that's fine. But it's very well possible Cliff Fettner joins the Hall of Fame of car salesmen who are just jumping from project to project, ripping people off. I don't know.